one of those 2-for-1 recipes that you know I'm very fond of. We're going to make our avocado hummus, and then I'm going to show you how you can turn some of that avocado hummus into something else that's very useful. Now, the reason I love this recipe is because this is like a cross between traditional hummus and guacamole. So we're going to get that great guacamole flavor that we all love, but we're also going to get a protein boost from the beans, which is traditional in the hummus. The other nice thing about this one is it's going to save a little money because, you know, guacamole can be kind of expensive depending on the season. Avocados can add up. So beans on a per serving basis are usually less expensive than avocados, so that might save a little bit of money. And we're still going to get that nutrition boost. We're going to get the protein, as I said. We're going to get some fiber from the beans. It's really going to be good. And I'm going to season this one like a traditional guacamole rather than hummus. So hummus normally is made with garbanzo beans, which is what we're going to do. It usually has olive oil in it. It usually has lemon, but we're going to use lime instead. Usually has some garlic. And then it usually has something called tahini, which is a sesame paste. It's ground up sesame seeds, which is a healthy fat. But we don't really need that. We don't want that strong sesame flavor in here because we're going to use the avocado to be our healthy fat in our avocado hummus. All right. So to get started, what I did was I took my 15.5-ounce can of garbanzo beans and I poured them into this bowl with their liquid. And I've just covered the entire thing with some boiling water. And the reason that I did that is because I think what it does is when the beans get warm, I think they just blend better. We're going for a really super smooth guacamole avocado hummus kind of thing. So I want the beans to be nice and soft. But if you feel like that's just too much and you can skip this step if you want to and just throw the beans in your food processor. All right, so I'm going to just drain those. And by the way, if when you open your can of beans, if there's some skins in there, as there often are, don't worry about it. You can take them out, you can put them in. They're going to get blended anyway, so you don't really need to pick them out if you don't want to. All right, and then don't throw this liquid away. And the reason is that we might need it later because if our guacamole avocado hummus isn't quite the right texture, and if we feel like it needs to be thinned down a little bit, then we might use a little bit of that liquid to do that. All right, so we've got the can of garbanzo beans in here. And then now, of course, we want to add in our healthy fat, our avocado. So you want a nice ripe avocado. And we're going to put the whole thing in there and just cutting it in half. And you know that when you choose an avocado, it should be something where when you just gently squeeze it in your palm, it should just start to give a little bit. And that's how you know that it's ripe. This is a really beautiful one. It's always a question mark, right? When you open up an avocado, is what is it going to look like inside? And this one happens to be beautiful, which is great. So we're going to put that whole thing in there, that whole avocado. So what's this adding? Well, it's adding some healthy fat, of course. Avocado also gets its green color from a compound called lutein. It's the same phytonutrient that you find in leafy greens. And lutein is really beneficial for your eyes. It sort of goes to the back of your eye. Some people call it nature's sunglasses because it helps to protect your eyes against radiation from the sun. Doesn't mean you shouldn't wear sunglasses. You definitely should. But it has a lot of lutein in it. And then, of course, the fat that's in avocado, you might know, is the same fat that's in olive oil. It's a monounsaturated fat, so they're considered really heart healthy. So we've got some good stuff going on already. All right, and then as I mentioned, traditionally hummus would use lemon juice, but I'm going to use lime because that goes better with the avocado. That's usually what you put in guacamole. So I've got 3 tablespoons of lime juice going in there. I am adding a little bit of extra fat. I'm adding another tablespoon of olive oil. And that's because we've got a pretty good quantity here, and I do want it creamy, but it's a healthy fat and it's only a tablespoon, so it's good. Putting some garlic in, I just coarsely chop this. This is like about 2 garlic cloves, You don't have to chop it up too much since it's going to go in the food processor. This, by the way, you could do this in the blender. You may have to stop a little more often to, kind of scrape the sides down, but it'll definitely work in the blender. Then we need a little bit of salt, so 3/4 teaspoon of salt, or to taste, as we often say. And then, again, traditionally in guacamole, at least for me, I like to put a little cumin in my guacamole. So I'm putting in a teaspoon of cumin. Let's get these out of the way. And then lastly, I'm putting in a 1/2 cup of cilantro leaves. Now, cilantro is one of those herbs that some people love it, some people hate it. There don't seem to be anybody really in between. But I'm doing it partly for flavor, partly for color, and of course there's some nutrients in there as well. It's a good source of vitamin C. It also has some lutein in it as well. If you don't like cilantro, you could leave it out. Although it does give our hummus a really, really pretty green color. The other thing you could use instead, well, there's always parsley. You guys watch my videos, you know I love parsley. But I think what's actually better is baby spinach works well, or baby arugula works really well. And that's it. And it's funny, when I was getting ready to make this and I was looking at different hummus recipes, and I was very tempted to try to make 3 different ones because I've seen other substitutions for the avocado as well. I've seen hummus made with roasted beets, which is a beautiful red color, and I've seen hummus made with sweet potato in place of the avocado, which is a beautiful orange color. And I thought, oh, orange and red and this beautiful green, but I think one's enough. All right, so I'm going to put the top on. We're going to blend this, and don't be afraid to let it go for a little while because you really want your hummus to be nice and smooth. So I'm going to put this on and let her go. All right, so one half of my avocado just doesn't want to get crushed in there. So we're going to break that up a little bit. Right now, I can't tell about the texture, so I'm not going to add any liquid yet. I don't want this to be soupy, so I'm going to blend it a little bit longer, and then we'll check, and we'll see if we think we need to add a little bit of that liquid. I'm guessing not. Usually I don't, but I like to save that liquid just in case. All right, here we go. All right, so I blended this for a couple of minutes actually, and it's looking pretty good. I hope you can tell the color is really beautiful. It's very, very, very smooth. And to me, it's just the right texture. If you like your hummus a little looser, let's say, you could add something to it, but this actually looks pretty darn perfect to me. So I'm going to just leave it alone. I'm going to stop right there. And let's go ahead and kind of plate this up because it's so beautiful when we do it. For me, the best way to eat this is, of course, with some vegetable dip. I love to do that. And, you could use some chips if you want to. You could make baked chips. Maybe we should do that for another show. But you could definitely do that. But this is just so pretty. And it's going to keep pretty well in the refrigerator. What I would tell you to do, if you do have some left over and if you don't make the second recipe that we're going to make in a minute, when you go to cover your hummus, take some plastic wrap and press it all the way down on the surface so that you don't get any air in there, and that'll help it to preserve its color. What happens is that avocado has some compounds in it called phenols. And when those compounds, these are natural phytonutrients, when those compounds get exposed to air, which has oxygen in it, they get oxidized, and so they turn a brown color, and it's normal. So what happens, the reason we put the lime juice in, aside from the flavor, is lime juice has a lot of vitamin C, which is an antioxidant. You've heard that term before, and that's what it does. So that antioxidant activity in the vitamin C, in the lime juice, is going to help to keep our guacamole, our avocado hummus, whatever we're going to call it, from turning brown. So that plus keeping the air out is really going to help. So there you have it. I'm going to just take a quick taste and see. I can tell the texture is delicious. It's very smooth. It really, I won't say it would fool anybody being exclusively avocado, but the avocado flavor definitely comes through because the beans are really pretty mild. This is super delicious. Great snack, really, really healthy. And so what we've got here is we've got, of course, a good way to work some vegetables into our diet. We've got the protein, the fiber from the beans. We've got that healthy fat from the avocado. So we've got a pretty good thing going. Okay, let me put this aside and somewhere. And let me show you something else that's really fun to do. If you're like me, I don't always have time to make hummus, so a lot of times I buy it. And sometimes I forget about it, and then I'll find a container of it in the back of the refrigerator. And I think, oh boy, I didn't get around to eating all of this. But there's some really fun things that you can do with it. And one of my favorite things to do with hummus, I don't want to say leftover, but extra, is to make a salad dressing. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a half a cup of this avocado hummus that we just made. And you don't have to be real precise on this one, but we're going to take a half a cup and put it in a little bowl. You're going to love this. If you've never made salad dressing out of hummus, it's so good because you've already got a nice start. You've got a lot of flavor going on, and then you've got this nice kind of creamy texture, but you don't have, it's not super, super rich. All right, and then we have to season this as well. So we're going to add, first of all, a little bit of water because it's too thick right now for a salad dressing. So I'm adding 3 tablespoons of just plain old water. And now we already seasoned our hummus with lime juice and we used some olive oil, but I'm going to bump it up a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little more lime juice. We had 3 tablespoons in the whole container of hummus that we made. I'm adding another tablespoon of lime juice. And then I'm going to add, all my little dishes here, and then I'm also going to add a little bit more olive oil. So I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil that I'm adding there. And I'm also going to add some salt, and I'm going to add some pepper. So again, so we can let's just reiterate what we just did. So we had a half a cup of our avocado hummus. We did 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of water, tablespoon of lime juice, some salt. We've got some pepper in there, and then that's pretty much it. So now we've got this really yummy, yummy green dressing. It's a pretty color. Oh, I know what I forgot. This one needs a tiny little bit of sweet. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon of agave. You can leave that out if you want to, but it just takes the edge off because we've got a lot of acid going in there from the lime juice. So it just kind of takes the edge off. You can use agave, you can use honey, you can use sugar, you can use any other sweetener, or as I said, you can just leave it out. And this just is this beautiful dressing. And what I wanted to do just to show it to you so that I would show it off, the colors as well as I could, is I found this beautiful tomato in the grocery store, even though it's not quite tomato season yet. But I thought that would just be so pretty. So I'm going to put a little bit, there we go, of our hummus dressing, and then a tiny bit of just some feta cheese. There we go. And then lastly, just a little green. I've just got some more minced up cilantro that I'm putting on top of there, which is really, really good. And that's it. You know, I just, as I said, it's what's really fun about this is that we were able to get 2 for 1, both equally tasty, but a little bit different tasting. You know, this doesn't really taste like hummus when you eat it. It just tastes like a really delicious, creamy avocado salad dressing, but it's a lot better for you. So that's it. Very, very simple. Nice to get 2 recipes out of 1. Don't go away because I'm going to come right back. I'm going to give you all the nutrition facts for both the hummus as well as for the salad dressing. Okay? I'll be right back.